Well, I'm here right now at the LCS studio with Romain Bigeard. I think I got that right?
Perfect.
Okay, yeah, probably not perfect, but either way. So I've heard much about you from seeing you all over the European broadcast and all that stuff, but do you want to talk to me a little bit about what your next step is?
My next step is here in NA with Optic Gaming, actually. So I got drafted kind of 2 months ago now to basically take care and create the whole League of Legends business part for Optic.
Oh, fantastic. And so, yeah, maybe you can take me through how those conversations went, why you decided to come to NALCS, why Optic, just kind of take me through that whole process.
So I was manager for Unicorns of Love. I have been manager for them for 2 years and a half. It was obviously the best job in the world. I had a lot of freedom and so on. And around September, Optic came to me saying, hey, we're looking for someone to back our application towards Riot, because you heard you had maybe 100 people applying to get a slot, and then at the end round was maybe, I don't know, 20 or something.
Sure.
And one of the points Riot was really pushing for is they needed someone with a bit of LoL experience. So basically Optic came to me and said, do you want to come on board? We're going to fully trust you. You're going to have a bit of cash to create everything and help us to build a project. So I went directly to my CEO at Unicorns of Love, Jos, and I told him, look, Jos, I have this amazing opportunity. Can I at least fly with them to present the application to Riot? It went really, really well. We got the slot, so I just left Unicorns.
Yeah. And so Optic is a really big esports organization, but probably very unknown to League of Legends fans. So for the League fans that are watching, maybe you can sort of explain what Optic is, where it came from, sort of the story of the organization.
So I actually had absolutely no clue who Optic was when they applied. So I had no pressure, when I met them and when they came to me. But I Googled a bit, and I mean, their Twitter account alone is as big as the League of Legends account. I think LoL is at 4 million, Optic is at 3.2. So in terms of reach, marketing / business, it speaks to me. It's really big and really interesting. And I basically solely discovered the organization toward the last months. I met Hector, which is kind of the face of Optic. I met a couple of people backstage, the owner, the business guys. It's big, and they are so efficient when it comes to creating content, engaging fans, and they are now present in all games. They have a CSGO organization, they obviously have a Call of Duty organization, Gears of War, maybe a couple of fighting are going to come. They have Dota 2, they have Overwatch, and then now League of Legends. So,
all right, so then, what is, from your understanding, what is Optic really hoping to accomplish in the League of Legends scene, and what is it looking to build?
As far as I understand and as far as I would like to achieve is we want to create a brand, a really big and entertaining brand, and we want to take people on a journey through LCS, basically, like showing them a lot of what's happening backstage, showing them how to train the guys, showing them what kind of emotion and feelings can a pro player go through when they are competing either on stage or outside of the stage, what's the daily life of a pro gamer, how do you impact their health and this kind of stuff. So, yeah, basically. And they are so good at creating content. Like, for example, we just released a video, but it felt to me the guy was just walking around us, took a couple of shots and just left. And then I see the video online 2 days after, and I'm like, wow, like I would have needed a full week of brainstorm and stuff to create something that good. So they're all super, super talented. Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit back to yourself, because I'm sure a lot of EU fans, you were such a big figure in the EU LCS, and are sad to see you, among other players, join NALCS. So talk to me a little bit about the decision to leave EU and come to North America, and what your thought process was there.
The challenge was just too attractive. Like the franchise system makes it even more enjoyable, because you are kind of allowed to fail. You can try as much as you want, and you will still be there next year. The budget obviously are more important. Why? Because whatever you build right now is still going to be there next year. The way you talk to sponsors is more interesting. The way you build players, you build management is, to me, more challenging. And yeah, it's a challenge, definitely. And the NA market, like, everything is bigger in NA, from cars, from drinks, from food, from people, everything. And actually, any kind of stuff you create is going to be hundreds of thousands of views. So it's a bit more challenging and interesting to me. And the way they create, think, and build entertainment is really different than Europe. Why? Because any kind of content you create in Europe, you have to decide, am I going to go for English or local language? If you go English, yeah, you're gonna have to fight versus NA and UK. But if you go local, you can only activate a specific local market. Where in the US, you just create anything in English, and literally the world is yours. So it's way more interesting and way more challenging. And on the other hand, because they are so experienced with any entertainment stuff, they have investors behind which know how to create. So Optic, for example, you might start to see Optic absolutely everywhere in the mainstream in 6 months. Why? Because they have this expertise. Where in Europe, it's going to be harder. And that's going to be interesting if EU goes to franchise. Will the football club come on board? Because as far as I understand, that's the goal of Riot on the long term, to have sports organization kind of pushing into mainstream esport. But how is it going to go? Because I believe the football club are a bit traumatized at the moment. The PSG example kind of sucked.
Yeah.
So Schalke 04 needs to perform next year. So the franchise system will be able to drag some people from sports.
Yeah. Now, I also know that when you were in Europe, I feel like I saw you in a lot of big costumes and looking very, very unique. Us NA fans were very confused by what was happening, but there's just this pink outfit running around. Should we expect to see you in green outfits now? I know Optic's whole line is the green wall, so are we just going to see you in a giant brick green wall kind of deal?
Absolutely, like something's going to happen. So what allowed me to be goofy and half naked on stage with Unique Underflow was success, obviously, because if you go half naked on stage and you're losing, it's just cringe. Yeah. But if you're winning, whatever you do is going to be funny. So at the end of the day, if we win, yeah, you're going to see a bit more extreme stuff. But even if we don't, like, I'm not going to hide myself. I like to make my player laugh. I call it shame training because they're young. They're going to have to be on stage in front of 40, 50, 60,000 people, millions of people watching them online. So they have to be trained to have people staring at them and judging them. So the easiest way I found is if I dress goofy, people are going to look at me and they're going to forget. After 1 hour of sitting next to me, they're going to forget. Everyone is always looking at us. Right. So it's kind of a shame training, and I also love it. I can draw a lot of energy from it. So my goal, for example, for first split is just to be top 4, because top 4 means you have a stage, you have people, meaning I can cook the crowd, I can take the crowd and offer it to my guy saying, look, that's real drug, man. Like screaming your name and stuff, that's what you want to aim for. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about who is joining you here. So it's hard for me to keep track of in the offseason what is confirmed, what isn't, what you guys have announced, what you haven't. I know that Zabutin is announced.
Yes.
Yes. So talk to me a little bit about him, because I met this guy a long time ago, several years ago, and he was casting. Now he's going to be here coaching. So what is his involvement? How did that happen?
I picked him up because actually he has never been a coach, and I like it. I like that because he's going to bring. We have this amazing opportunity to have the full trust of our management. They came to me saying, Roman, whatever you're going to do, we trust you. And then I go to Zabutin, I pick him because I know whatever he's going to do is going to be really new. No one is a pure mind when it comes to training, and he's also super clever. And he's also coming from a real job, meaning he used to work in bank/finance, so he knows how to wake up in the morning, how to go train for the full day, and how to behave like a real grown-up adult, which is going to be really important, I believe, on the long run for esport. It is a professional coming from the pro world with a lot of good ideas about the game, with a lot of experience, because through casting, if you do your job properly, you need to learn a lot of what's happening. Maybe he's going to lack a bit of really efficient day-to-day how to train, but I can bring this kind of stuff, and we are going to be surrounded by experienced people as well to make sure everything is going smooth.
And I know probably as we're filming this, the whole roster hasn't been announced, or the lineup isn't out there yet.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we find out soon. But what has his involvement been? What has your involvement been in sort of scouting players and trying to figure out who to pick up?
So off-season was extremely interesting in North America because in Europe, the market is kind of smaller with less money. And in Europe, I know all of them. I know the managers, I know the Riot people, I know the players. And I used to work with Shippy, which could scout efficiently who is good or not, and Chachi and Illy. So that was kind of easy to do the off-season. NA was a full new jungle. And jungle is the right word, I believe, because I had to just introduce myself to all the managers. You have a lot of agents working in the market right now, which is also really interesting. The prices are insane. So I can tell you something is Optic has the smallest budget when it comes to the players right now. Which, why? Because when we forecasted it in September and so on, that was a big budget. It was a lot of money on the table. That should have been enough to cover a really solid off-season. The market kind of got out of control, but I still believe we did an extremely good job, because at one point we had to take the decision, do we inject more cash or not? And we had this money available, but we already had some really, really good players, good humans. Like, we had really good connection with them, and they were ready to work the way we want them to work. And I'm really, really looking forward to start working with this roster, because they are good humans, and we're going to be able to build things on the long term with them. Because that's something people forget, is League of Legends is not a tournament. It's a championship. Yeah. And a championship takes a lot of time. And a successful team in January might not be the one going to Worlds in August. And we see that again and again and again. And a team with 10 million budget to buy players might not be the one going to Worlds in August. So it's all going to be about how they train, how they click. And I believe the 5 guys we recruited are going to click really, really beautifully.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because the budget side, because one of the things that I'm trying to talk about with all the different owners, only because I've heard things behind the scenes, is that in the past in North America, I feel like you could basically judge a roster by how good did somebody scout, how good were they, how attractive was the brand of players, etc. For the first time, I get the inkling that this offseason, a lot of the roster decisions you are making are based off of, or the NALCS is making, are based off of budgets and how much is somebody willing to spend. Everybody has the paid by Steve memes, and you can sort of look at the all-star talent on the North America, on Team Liquid. Then you have teams like Golden Guardians that I think are picking up more rookie or sort of underrated talent. So yeah, how would you sort of describe the offseason in terms of, and sort of the decision making teams are making around budgets and where to get value and all that kind of thing?
It was Games of Thrones, literally. It all started with 10 teams battling for maybe 5, 6, 7 guys, mostly imports, obviously, because you need to get your imports first. It's like a puzzle, but you have 2 import pieces, which you're going to have to use because it's North America. And there is a problem in North America around scouting talent, which is why scouting runs, for example, is so interesting and important. It could have been even more efficient to have that like 3 weeks ago, but timing and so forth, it's going to be better next year. But yeah, so because NA needs those imports so bad, the beginning of the Games of Thrones starts with 10 teams fighting for 6 to 7 guys, mostly imports. And you need to log those 2, because if they are mid or bot, if they are jungle or top, your whole team is going to be different.
Right.
Then you have to check the rest of the puzzle pieces. So you have those 4A players, then you have to fill with AAA players, and you have to fill with AA players, kind of. And the problem is, the market blew up with those 4, 5, 6 guys, and where are they going to go? Who is going to hire them? But as soon as they are locked in a team, you can't even sign them. Yeah. Because the signing season is a week after this kind of battle started.
Right.
So that was interesting. 10 teams for 4 or 5 guys. Then as soon as they are allocated, you have a lot of guys. So the team suddenly came stronger. And then as soon as you start to feel, so it started Tuesday 2 weeks ago. Whenever a team was announcing someone, you had 2 ways to take it. As a team, it was like, oh my God, they just signed Mike Young. Shit, such a good pick. I wanted Mike Young. But from a player perspective, what do you see is, there's only 9 slots left. As jungler, only 8 slots left.
Right.
7 slots. And suddenly all the big prices on the table, because you're dealing with agents, but the agents have to go to their players. I'm going to get you more money. But the player is like, I want a job because I know what's going to happen. And if in 4 days I'm not signed, the problem is I'm going to have to go to Moment's that basement. And there is no more academy, kind of. Because before the academy was battling to get an LCS slot. Yeah. Now academy is not going to do a lot for the next year. So is there a sense to spend a lot of money on your academy, or do you really want to use it as a ground to build? To build the long term. So the market was a bit crazy. So yes, so from 10 for 4, then from 10 to 50. But as soon as it starts to pack, everyone is fighting for the 2-3 last players. And suddenly, so high salary, low signing salary, high salary. It was really interesting. It was it was Games of Thrones.
Yeah.
And in 2-3 hours, yeah, everything was different. And I actually really enjoy the kind of talk and business we had with Steve, we had with Andy, we had with all those people, because at the end of the day, managers and coaches are here for the long term. Because in 6 months, that's why I'm always trying to be as honest as possible and not to fuck up with people. Why? Because in 6 months, we're still going to work together.
Right.
In 1 year as well, in 2 years as well. Players are going to go from one region to another. The management is staying most of the time.
Yeah.
So that was crazy, man. That was really crazy. You couldn't sleep. If you were sleeping 4 hours, you were waking up. Skype was like 10 messages, WhatsApp the same, email and stuff. Do you want to buy this guy? Do you want to sell this guy? Do you want to? But luckily, we already had our 5 guys, and we were talking with them, negotiating contract. That was amazing. I loved it.
Do you think fans should consider budget as a dimension of what these rosters are? Because I mean, I think oftentimes I look on Reddit and people just say like, what is this roster? And it's sort of like, well, this roster is very different than some of the other rosters you're seeing because there's probably a different level of financial involvement.
And like, imagine a team where one guy is paid $1 million and the rest is paid 150K.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of mindset, in terms of training, it's like in a company. It's exactly like real life. Like in an open space, when you do technically kind of the same job, but he's paying 10 times more than you, he's better be 10 times better as you, because if you're winning, as per usual, everything is smooth. The day you're losing, all those little troubles are going to pop up. And how do you stay motivated when you signed a 3-year contract, giving you a couple of 100,000 per month?
Yeah.
If you start failing, you know you can just rest. Why? Because it's really hard to fire you, and you have those long... I honestly don't understand any kind of contract longer than a year. Even less when I see the salaries. I believe as a player right now, your main strength is to be able to put this little Twitter in November, guys, I'm a free agent.
Yeah.
Like, battle for me. Like, for example, Reckless just signed. To me, is one of the most amazing ADC in the world. And I believe, as much as I understand the move from a marketing/PR perspective, I believe if Reckless was able to put tomorrow on the Twitter, I'm a free agent, just to see. Yes, Europe is going to be really mad, but just for him to know his real value, just for him to say, okay, Europe, you see my value on the market? Hey, Patrick, hey, Fnatic, that's my value on the market. Give me a bit more money.
Sure. Well, let's kind of go back to Optic itself. How is Optic going to get to Worlds this year?
By training, as everyone. By training efficiently, by giving our best on the long run. And that's going to be hard, because that's what's hard for any team. It's not hard to perform in January or March. It's hard to face defeat one after another. It's hard to win on the long run and not get cocky and not forget how to train. It's hard to go through May when, if you're not attending MSI, what are you going to do for 3 weeks? Do you kind of untrain yourself by going on holidays? Or do you go Korea and you might burn out? It's a lot of long-term decision. And I believe, once again, the way management are going to take care of their players, even more in the franchise system, is going to be fascinating. Will the old guard, the old people going to prevail? Are the new teams with the NBA background when it comes to training and so on do something? Like when you check EcoFox, maybe not, but maybe they're going to change stuff. Maybe the Golden are going to bring something. Maybe it's going to be really, really interesting year. Yeah. I believe NA, from a pure player perspective, has never been as stacked. Like, on any lane, you have big names. Like I mean, you have story to build for every game.
I've heard that before, and then week 2 of Worlds comes along, and then all my hopes get crushed. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what changes this year. Is there anything that you want to say to any of the potential fans out there that are looking at Optic? They've heard about this green wall thing. Maybe they can become a part of it. Anything at all to any of the NA fans out there that are looking forward to seeing what Optic can do next year?
Just thank you. Welcome to most of the Optic fans who never heard of League of Legends. Welcome to League of Legends. We're more than happy to have you on board, and let's show the world how good we are.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Looking forward to seeing what your team can do next year and what costumes you'll be wearing. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone, for the support. I hope you enjoyed that interview. I really appreciate all the support that I have gotten from folks over the past couple of weeks. And if you'd like to support me, you can do so over at travisgafford.com/support.